Hey, you know what's more exciting than seeing wrestlers wrestle to kick off a show? Seeing them arrive to the arena, apparently. They did this on SmackDown as well, dragging out the show with a filler opener of stars pulling into the parking lot. Absolute waste of time. Triple Nose seems to forget that that kind of thing only works for big stars at big events occasionally. Anyways, Sami Zayn is already back. Let's just put that in perspective. Randy Orton, 14-time world champion, is still gone after several months. Cody Rhodes, WWE champion right now, sold Owens' package pile driver like death for a couple of weeks. Zayn is in the ring, he seems fine. If we consider Kevin Owens' indie career canon, there are loads of cruiserweight jabronis who were wrestling the next night after a package pile driver, and some even kicked out of it. Clearly, Triple Nose wants us to believe Randy Orton is fragile and must be handled with care. Zayn cut a decent babyface promo here, going over his and Owens' history. He noted they'd often turned on each other, but this time it was 100% personal. Ooh, no professional stakes or gains at stake, just pure hatred. That was an interesting point. That kind of works, so long as you didn't see their Ring of Honor feud, which of course at this point, most people have not. Adam Pearce is a great authority figure in many ways. I've seen people say he's boring, he's too grounded. This is the whole point though. He's not Mr. McMahon or Eric Bischoff, he's a realistic manager. The kind of stressed out, target meeting, HR dealing boss you'd actually meet in real life. He notes Sami Zayn is not fit to compete in the ring just yet. He runs through all the damage Owens could do to Zayn, and Zayn, to his credit, after being everyone's friend and an emotional knapsack the past few months, rightly pointed out he could do all that damage to Owens as well. It was nice to see the Ginger Ninja show some fire for a change. Zayn versus Owens is on, unsanctioned, at Elimination Chamber. These guys will work hard, no doubt. It'll be full of crazy bumps, I'm sure. But the real question, and this is always the question when WWE put on an unsanctioned match, is will it be better than Triple H versus Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam '02? That bar is so high to clear, the safe answer is probably not. Dirty Dominik wanted to add a new member to the Judgment Job. Given all they do is jub, maybe they should, maybe he's got the right idea, depending on who that member would be. Finn Balor refused for some reason, he doesn't want anyone new. So apparently Bayley competed in a celebrity NBA game recently. That's cool. She did an interview with Vic Joseph and said she'd win the Elimination Chamber, because of course that's what she said. Imagine if she said she saw herself losing. Oh, I don't think the Chamber's for me, I don't think I'm going to take that one, unfortunately. It'd be funny, I guess, but it's not how a babyface talks. Very rudimentary, pointless promo, to be honest. Finally, some action up next. Triple Nose remembered what the second W in WWE stands for and gave the fans AJ Styles versus Dominik Mysterio. Michael Cole absolutely humiliated Styles by reminding us he used to work in TNA. I know TNA is heating up a bit now, but for many of us, it was a joke promotion trying to be Team U WWE under Dixie Carter's essentially blind watch for many years. A place where genuinely great talents like Styles, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, Abyss, and James Storm were frequently shafted in favor of arthritic WWE has-beens. A place where the great Kurt Angle was allowed to work himself to near death and succumb completely to his painkiller addiction for years. A joke company that tried to cheapskate Styles and then threw a little hissy fit when New Japan and WWE both squeezed main event runs out of him because they realized what a talent he was. And still is, to be fair, he still does pretty good stuff. Anyways, this match was very basic, with Styles playing the grizzled babyface veteran and Mysterio playing the cowardly heel, relying on Carlito on the outside to help him out. Towards the end, Carlito tried to get in the ring, and the referee did absolutely nothing about it. Not even any real protesting, just letting it happen. Styles knocked the apple biter out of the ring and then planted Mysterio with a Styles Clash for the win. Bron Breakker charged the ring after the match, looking to spear Styles, but hitting Mysterio instead. Breakker is a very good talent, full of explosive athleticism and physical charisma. He plays to crowds and the hard cam well, and he's clearly got a bright future. He should, in theory, be a good Intercontinental champ too, but he rarely defends it, and rarely wrestles right now either. The Intercontinental belt is the working man's belt. He should have been booked to rack up a lot more defenses than he has right now. Aaron Woods was shown in the crowd. Is rugby a big deal in the US? That is my question. I could have sworn football dominates there, making rugby pretty redundant, making showing him a bit pointless. Despite not being American, I actually call soccer soccer and the NFL stuff football. I don't even know why. Dajabba Kai won a singles match next. I guess crying about losing on a stream a year ago finally paid off. Quick match, not even 7 minutes. They got a lot of moves in, and you could tell the match was structured to give underdog Kai a feel-good win. There was just one problem. No one cares! The crowd was as dead as a fried chicken throughout. Austin Theory and Grayson Waller did a quick interview. Austin Theory was meant to be a star. Instead, he's Waller's lackey, and both of them got demolished by Oba Femi on NXT recently. Now, to be clear, I really enjoy Femi's work. It's not embarrassing for a talent to lose to the guy. But what is a wrestler of Theory's experience and ability doing back in NXT in the first place? This frankly looks like a petty burial from Triple Nose to Vince McMahon's final pet project. There really does seem to be no other explanation for it. It also makes John Cena putting him over back at WrestleMania 39 a complete waste of time. Gunther did some amusing material on Jey Uso and the "Yeet" chant next. He walked through the crowd and basically got shouted over by fans before he made his way to the steps. He called everyone simple and dismissed the "Yeet" as simple crap for simple people. Obviously, I completely agree with him. He delivered this too dryly, though, lacking as always in any real depth or resonance. Is he meant to be witty? Is he meant to be aggressive? Gunther needs to work on his acting, I'm afraid. He also used Zack Sabre Jr.'s infamous Shakespeare line. ZSJ said the Shakespeare to a Doug thing regarding British technical wrestling in front of a US audience in his case, and he caught some flack for it several years back. This was back when New Japan actually had some viewers still. Funnily enough, this is not the first time a WWE talent has ripped him off either. Becky 2 Belts was a blatant rip-off of Zaki 3 Belts, or however many it was, when he was still working a lot of the indies and had a lot of titles no one cared about. Gunther got in Pat McAfee's face for a bit. On paper, Gunther bullying the commentators could get some heat, but everything felt like high school theatre level acting. Gunther lacks the menace to really pull off being a big bully these days. It worked for him very well in the indies, when he was a big fat guy in a sea of cruiserweights, and he had a faction and carried himself with intensity. Now, though, he just seems like a very normal, very bland, somewhat mean guy. Jey Uso ran out for the save, big pup. Basic pull-apart brawl next with Uso sending Gunther packing, before reminding us all of Gunther's words on a simple chant for simple people by leading the "Yeet" chants. Penta beat Pete Jubb next. Triple Nose is seemingly so enamored with his baked beans munching, finger-breaking manlet that I half expected him to get his win back on Penta here. Dunne went straight for the fingers. Now, to be clear, broken fingers are serious injuries that make the affected hand all but useless in the heat of the moment. Yet somehow, Penta did all of his moves post-finger snap just fine. Ludwig Jubber came out to watch the match. Jubber is actually talented in the ring. He's in good shape. He has good facial expressions. But he has spent so much time as a jubber, and as Gunther's whipping boy, that it's going to be a long process to make him a credible talent. Dunne got a near fall by holding Penta's tights. The masked man threw Dunne into Kaiser when he got on the apron before putting him down with the Penta driver for the win. Loads of fan support for Penta here, who's looked good in the WWE ring so far. The psychology of the match was ruined by all of the finger stuff, though, which is unrealistic to the point of just insulting one's intelligence, even by the low standards of professional wrestling. The finishing sequence was very similar to the Styles versus Mysterio bout earlier on, though, making the show feel a little repetitive all of a sudden. Penta wiped out both Euro jobbers after the match, making him look strong for the week. Jey Uso vowed to beat Gunther and prove his doubters wrong at WrestleMania. I have no doubt he will win. I also have no doubt that will be 3 flop world champions in a row. Damian Priest was a botch machine during his run. Gunther has become almost comically dull in the champ role, stripped of most of his character for some reason, and Jey Uso, much as fans like him, will be severely exposed, flaws and all, in the big world champ role. Now, that's just my opinion, of course, and opinions are neither right nor wrong, they mean nothing. I've said that before about Jey Uso, and about opinions, and you get these absolute marks, not as a joke term to throw around, like literally what the mark word is meant for, who can't handle that not everyone loves a brain rot cringe merchant who puts on mid-matches. It's fine if you like him, just to be clear, but it's not fine to have a nervous breakdown when someone else does not. I had one commenter comment fickle the other week. Obviously he meant it as a reference to Daniel Bryan, I guess he used to do that fickle thing, but it goes to show how retarded most of these marks are, throwing words around like that don't even apply. You see, fickle would suggest I used to really like Jey Uso, that I used to demand this guy should get pushed, and then I turned on him when he got a main event push. That would be very fickle. I didn't mind some of his stuff in the bloodline, I guess, but I've never really been an Usos guy. Find me a moment of me saying Jey Uso is awesome and belongs in the main event. Go on. Look for it. You'll never find it. It's that or some closet queen says you're an AEW elitist. I can't even be bothered to review AEW shows most weeks. Wrestling fans, not all obviously, there's at least... Hold on. Let me check my low-tier, barely growing subscriber count. There's at least 2,390 or so wrestling fans innocent of this charge who aren't what I'm going to say here. But a lot of wrestling fans can't handle different opinions and can't even have fun discussing them. Instead, losing their minds over fake fighting and having online meltdowns because not everyone loves whatever talent they're treating as their god that week. Anyways, has anyone else noticed how tall Vic Joseph is? He interviewed Dakota Jubb in the audience. I guess Triple Nose and friends didn't get the memo from earlier on that no one cares about his old NXT jobbers. His promo had no crowd interest to the shock of no one. Roxanne Perez, the first 12-year-old to compete in the WWE, and, by extension, Kenny Omega's favourite performer in WWE probably, beat Raquel Tall next. And if there's one thing you should know about Raquel Tall, it's that she's pretty tall. Because there's nothing else going on here. Charisma? No, not particularly. Work rate? Not really, no. Impressive size? Sure. Pretty much it. Like a female Matt Morgan. Perez, despite seemingly being a heel, worked as an underdog babyface here, fighting to overcome Rodriguez's superior size and strength. Bianca Belair and Naomi, one of whom almost definitely was the one to thump Jade Cargill last year, came out then due to the Morgan and Rodriguez looking guilty lately story that no one really is taking seriously. Perez hit her pup rocks on Rodriguez, which did look quite impressive due to the size difference, to pick up the win. Crowd was pretty dead for most of this match, much of which just felt like slow control and heat building. The finish got a pup though, so that's something. Seth Rollins revealed he's planning to beat Finn Balor. Incredible! How would we have ever guessed a wrestler planned to win their wrestling match without it being spelt out? I assumed Rollins' plan was to lose tonight, so there you go. Shocking. Good on Rollins for confirming that's the idea and making this story clear for us all, that when they get in the ring, each wrestler in storyline wants to win their match. Yeah, some things obviously need to be spelt out. Apparently that's one of them. The New Day cut a heel promo on Rey Mysterio next. Kofi Kingston is not bad as an annoying jerk. It's quite funny to see him like this, after so many years as a fairly nondescript babyface. He rinsed Rey Mysterio here, and got some heat for it, to be fair. The LWO came out, and the psychology of this next part was an absolute mess. The LWO outnumbered the New Day and put a beating on them, making the heels the outmatched underdogs more worthy of fan sympathy. Highly illogical. The New Day hightailed it out of there before anything could heat up too much, and who could blame them? They were outnumbered. Ugh, I'll tell you, this was an absolutely nothing show. Until the main event. Seth Rollins and Finn Balor put a great TV match together here. One of the best TV matches WWE has had this year so far. Balor worked as an aggressive heel, jumping Rollins before the opening bell and hitting him with a surprise pedigree just a minute in. With shades of old school late 90s Triple H, Balor did not let go of Rollins' arms at all, so the pedigree looked way more brutal than usual. Rollins remained on the back foot for a while here, wedging small comebacks in, including a dive to the outside and a kick to the leg. Rollins went for a stomp on the steel steps, but Balor dodged it. Rollins overcame an attack on his midsection, but got knocked down by a very slick Pele kick from Balor. A lot of big moves here. The pace was great too, quickening gradually over the course of the 18-minute bout. A buckle bomb and a frog splash weren't enough to put Balor away, as he got his knees up and caught Rollins in a cradle for a great near fall. Rollins used a surprise sharpshooter and hit his own pedigree for another near fall. The problem here was it was too near. With Balor kicking out late enough, the match could have been called right then and there. Those painfully close near falls are a very hard art to master and time well. It's why guys like Roman Reigns and Minoru Suzuki have gotten pops for it over the years, when they managed to kick out at 2.999999 or near enough, without actually delaying till the 3. Rollins did a DX crutch chop. Not sure a man as zesty as him should be doing that. It could be misinterpreted, depending on the man he throws it at. Balor hit the coup de grace, but couldn't get the 3 count, and was rucked by a curb stomp to give Rollins the win. Good match, good action. Balor is a jobber to the stars now, though. His finisher didn't finish the bout here, and in general, he rarely wins. His main event prospects never returned after he got injured winning his sole Universal title back in 2016. Amazing in-ring talent, good athlete, great work rate, great technique, but he's always lacked the size and charisma to really rise to the top of the card. Overall, this was quite a weak episode of Raw, to be honest. The show has so many bland mid and undercarders across the board right now, with even the world champ and his challenger not really coming across like credible main event top stars. The one thing that really saved it was the main event, which was the kind of wrestling people actually want to see on a wrestling program. More killer like that, and less filler like the endless, pointless segments, recaps, and dead-end promos would help this show keep a quicker, more engaging pace moving forwards.